Welcome back. Have you ever wanted to be able to call wind like a top-level wind coach? Me too. Have you looked over during a match and seen a coach for a major team holding an iPad and a pencil, but the targets weren't electronic? Today, I'm going to show you one of the most powerful tools available for making better wind calls. Stand by for Winning in the Wind. Let's dive right into this. This is SC Plotter, an application for Apple devices. Links are in the description. At this time, there doesn't seem to be an equivalent for Android devices, but I didn't look very hard for one. The big thing that SC Plotter brings to the table is Plotomatic style plotting. That means that, well, let's just switch to the app and I'll show you. Okay, let's start a new target. This is the front page of the application. Nothing spectacular, but it works. We're going to add a target. Hit the plus sign in the upper right and pick what kind of a target we want to do. Let's do a US LRFC at 1,000 yards. Right there. And we can name it over here if we want to, and I'll call this one video. And then I hit continue. And now I have my target up. Let's get familiar with this screen real quick. We have windage adjustments on the left. We have elevation adjustments on the right. We can do clicks with the top row and full minutes of angle with the bottom row. We can zoom in and out on the target. I'm actually going to zoom in real quick here. One click. And we can still drive the target around to see the entire target no matter how zoomed in we are. Even if we're zoomed in super tight like this, we can drive around to see where things are on the screen. Now I'm going to zoom out just to make it easier to do this so you guys can see better what I'm talking about. All right, let's say you held 3 right on the first sighter, but you weren't even close and hit an 8 just outside of the line on the left. You can do this with your finger, but I find it more accurate with the Apple Pencil. So you touch the screen where you held, and it gives you an aim symbol like this. Then you touch the screen a second time to mark the impact, leaving the impact symbol like this. If you mess it up, you can repeat the process. It goes aim, impact, aim, impact, aim, impact. All right, back to our demonstration. We click save in the lower right. You can also save with a note and add a text note to it, and it puts it right on the screen. I don't know why I would do that, but if you need to, you can. Now there's a couple things I want to show you. I'm going to zoom back out so you can see the full screen again. Once you touch save, it plots a shot as if you held center on that shot. So what does that tell you? Well, it tells you 2 things. First, you can use the grid on the target to make windage adjustments on the scope if you like, or you can simply hold at the mirror position for an accurate follow-up shot when chasing the spotter, like this. Yes, I said chasing the spotter. What? You thought we all made discrete wind calls? Had you fooled, didn't we? I hear people all the time tell others to not chase the spotter, and I have to refrain from laughing. Some of the best shooters in the world chase the spotter as their go-to strategy when things get tough. Let's climb out of that rabbit hole and get back to the subject here, shall we? So let's say this one hit a little to the right and edge 10. So we hit save and we see it plots in a different position. Now that's my 2 sighters. Let's say, just for giggles, that you don't want to hold way out there. So let's click the scope over to center up those 2 shots. I can click 1 minute of angle at a time, or I can click 1 click at a time to center up. That looks good right there. Now if my elevation is off and I add a click of elevation up or down, it does that too. In the same increments that your scope is set up in because it's a setting on the program. So there we go. 1.875 minutes of right windage, and we're going to stay on 0 for the elevation for now because they look pretty good where they were. It looks centered up to me. Now before we go any farther, we need to discuss scope or sight adjustments. You need to test and figure out if your scope adjusts in actual minutes of angle or inches per 100 yards. The difference isn't a lot at reasonable adjustment sizes, but when you roll on 10 minutes of wind, you will be off by 4.7 inches if you don't know which you're using. Test it before you start making windage dial adjustments at 1,000 yards. Trust me on this. If you're getting value out of this video, please like and subscribe. Consider visiting us on Patreon. Did anyone see Alice? Anyway, back to SC Plotter. Okay, so we start holding center and we allow the impact to drift back and forth across a 10 ring, like this. And I'm going to simulate a little vertical here because my guns don't shoot that flat. And all of a sudden, we get a scary 10. Let me zoom in just a little bit so you can see better. Right there. Now we know that the wind has changed some, so we can hold opposite or dial on a little more windage. I'll just hold. So I'm actually going to hold here at the mirror position and hope that it's going to hit here like this. Unfortunately for me, things don't work out very well, and it hits right where I'm holding. Now, the extents of our group have changed. Now, this includes an option to bracket, which is really neat. So I take my farthest left and I hit the bracket button down here in the lower right-hand corner. And I'm going to say I want a windage bracket. And yes, it misspells bracket. I don't know why. I'm going to hit the right side and I'm going to say bracket and say it's a windage bracket. Now I have lines. I know I missed that one. It's a little bit out of there. And that's where the entirety of my group is. And the reason that that's important is it allows me to now click the windage over. I can do this visually off of the bullet holes if I don't have too many on the screen. But in this case, I'm going to do it this way. It allows me to click over to center up. This is called bracketing. You don't even need the lines. Let's take those off of there. Okay, no lines. We can do the same thing. We go from here to here. Now we can work bracketing. We simply hold center and allow the point of impact to drift back and forth across the X and 10 ring as we're shooting. And I suddenly have a gun that shoots really well, by the way. I don't know how that happens. Anyway, it won't win any prizes for X count, but a clean is a clean, and X count only matters when you can't win on points. Let's leave this screen for a moment and look at the graphs for wind and elevation. Click Show Graphs in the bottom right, and there we are. This is one of those magic things that the app does for you. It shows you in minutes of angle a plot of the actual wind for all shots fired. It also shows you the elevation trend. Have you ever had a barrel that walked? With a few of these plots, you can identify exactly how much and when it walks. Knowing how your barrel is going to behave as it heats up will save you precious points. Okay, let's go back to the main screen. While I'm here, let's take a look at the regular plot screen. It looks a lot like an electronic target would, allowing you to see where and when your shots were or weren't what you wanted. Now this works great with manually pulled targets, but what about when you need your iPad for the electronic target? I'm glad you asked. On an iPad, just touch the screen with 4 or 5 fingers and pull left or right. You can switch between applications. I'd suggest before doing this that you close all other applications on the iPad. If you're coaching, you can do that, or look at a different device for information. This app is also really good when you're shooting pair fire, 2 to a mount, or whatever you call it where you shoot. Now, I don't use this during individual string fire, except in extreme circumstances. If my target puller is taking 30 seconds or more and the wind is changing, sure, I'll use it. But for faster shooting, I just have to do the calculation in my head. The last thing I want to talk to you about is being able to download the results. SC Plotter can output the target as a CSV file, giving you the ability to keep records of every relay shot forever, if that's what you're into. There are more features to the program. I find better ways to use it each time I do. Thank you for watching. Shoot straight, plot your next victory, and I'll see you in the next video.